Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet. Lakers driven by your Southern California Honda dealers. Chris McGee, James Worthy, Meta World Peace. Allie Clifton's going to join us in a little bit. Mike Trudell in Houston handling the post-game duties. The Lakers find a way to lose to the worst team in the league in OT, the 16-win Houston Rockets. The Lakers have now fallen 9 games under 500, guys, for the first time this year. They've also lost 9 straight road games, and in overtime, the Rockets scored 19 points on 5 threes in the first 4.5 minutes of OT. They scored 139 total.
I didn't think that I didn't think that we could hit a new low, but we hit a new low tonight. The worst team in the league, to be able to dominate like they did in overtime. First 4 quarters, tough enough. And I thought the Lakers played well enough to win in 4 quarters, except they missed a lot of free throws. I think they were 18 for 26 or something like that. 18 for 26. But they moved the ball. They had, what, 25 or so assists. But to me, it looks like, and it's just my take on it, you know, at the beginning of the season, there was a lot of expectations about this team to win. And I think they are at a point where they know they're not going to meet those expectations, you know, even without AD and, you know, the injuries and all that. It's not an excuse. They should be better than this. All the things that they've experienced, injuries, protocol, they still should be somewhere around 6 or 7, you know, in my opinion. They didn't start out, you know, the season serious with preseason. They were waiting around and so now I think they realize they can't win. They don't feel like they can. It's just this is what I'm seeing, and they can't beat the Suns or the best team. So I don't know, man. They're just it's almost like they're not dead on arrival, but they just don't have that tenacity. They don't have that will to work their way out of this, even to get to the play-in game. And you know, you would think they might be able that they're doing. You know, yeah, they won a game here and there, but like I said, they get up for the good teams. But for this Rocket team, and Coach Vogel said it before the game. He said they might be young and they might not have a great record, but they're going to play hard, and they did. And that's all that's been happening with the Lakers in a lot of cases, is they're just getting outworked. And, you know, Coach Vogel's got to start all these different lineups that don't know each other, and it has just been a mess. And they don't have no continuity anywhere on either side. Play well for, you know, 30-something minutes, and then they just, that disbelief of, I don't know why we're trying to win, comes in. And that's what it looks like on the floor to me. Not good.
Yeah, this is one of those years where you just appreciate that you have LeBron, Melo, Westbrook, Dwight, and Anthony on the court on the same team. You know what I'm saying? Because this is not, you can't take a lot of positives from today. Only positive you could take is that, wow, these Hall of Famers on the same team. Because this is, and I'm a pretty positive guy, but that was a pretty tough game to watch.
Yeah, I mean, watching the game with you, you usually aren't getting frustrated. That was frustrating towards the end, Meta. I know you're a defensive guy. You're a champion. And here's the thing. I've been around this franchise my whole life, first as a fan and now doing what I do now. And one thing I've learned, Meta, is that even with the great teams, when you play young teams or teams at the bottom of the standings and they see the Lakers coming into town, they know what that means. Yep. They know what their fans are going to be like. They know there's going to be a ton of Laker fans in the building. They know the energy is going to be high. For these young guys, yeah, they know they've only got 16 wins, Meta, but it's LeBron James. It's the Los Angeles Lakers. And the Lakers give them a chance to believe. And it starts on the defensive end, I think. And they're just not getting the stops when needed. They're not executing down the stretch. And this has been the theme, really, throughout the whole season. And I think that's what's so frustrating.
Yeah, I think so. And I think also that I don't know if they understand, like, some people actually support them. Like, we want to see them do well.
Of course.
Right? So I think a lot of the negatives are coming out. So you're probably reading that. But we want to see you do well, and we want to see you play well, have fun, play with confidence. Like, you know, even though we're in last place, but play with confidence. Be the best 10th place team in the league. right? And show that you want to be there, and show that you're happy, and show that you're competing and you're putting that passion, and put everything else to the side. Tonight, it was just almost like kind of now on the same page, and not that they gave up, but it kind of felt like that.
Yeah. Look, Laker fans are the best. There's no question about it. We got the best fans, and they are accustomed to seeing a certain style of play. Now, they know we don't win championships every year, but they are used to a certain style and a certain effort, which they haven't given us. I mean, the Houston game tonight, that was just one game, but we've seen this all season long. We saw it against Oklahoma. We saw it against other teams that they should win without AD, but we don't have a system in place. It's just like we bring in a lot of new players. They haven't figured it out how to play well together yet, but we still expect them to play hard, and we expect them to win against teams like Houston, and that's just not been happening. It's been a plague all season long. It's been like a plague that we're just not accustomed to in this city, and so this is a tough one, when you lose to teams like the Rockets.
Lakers had 2 chances down the stretch in regulation. They had the ball. LeBron missed a fall away. Russ battled for it, challenged, Laker ball. LeBron drives baseline. Looks like he was under the basket, so maybe unable to reverse that. Hits a wide open Melo with a little shot fake, relocate, big game. That's a great look. And you think Melo's going to probably make that, 9 out of 10 times?
Yeah, for sure. I was actually happy he got the last shot. I mean, he had a kind of a consistent game, big shot. I was hoping it was going to fall. It would have been a big night for him if that would have went in.
I actually thought that was pretty good execution for, a change down the stretch.
You like to see LeBron go to
when
back
there was motion.
Yep, absolutely.
And he wasn't standing out behind the three-point line. He collapsed the defense a little bit, got the ball to Carmelo. That was a good shot, just didn't go down.
I think we all agree, and we've said this throughout the season, the best opportunity you have to win on a one-point game or a one-possession game in the final seconds when you have it is LeBron James going downhill and getting to the basket and creating because people come to him and he can kick or he can try to score. They got that look.
Yeah.
They got that look. You'll take that any day of the week. It's a miss, but now you go to OT, and it just seemed James wins out of the sails.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the Rockets are like, let's win this one now.
Yeah.
For our fans, right? And they started to believe.
Yeah, absolutely. It felt like the Rockets sensed that they had them kind of broken, and the defensive concepts, they wasn't on a string. And the Rockets, they're young. They don't know how to execute yet. And it looked like they was executing. It was actually us.
Yeah, I mean, listen, James, the Rockets went for 5 threes in overtime, which is ridiculous. One of those threes got taken away, actually. They had about 6, and then I'm not sure what happened in that one play, but they had a 13-point lead and went down to 10. The Rockets double figures, 7 Rockets players in double figures. And Jalen Green, who you coached in the Rising Stars game, I mean, he had a huge game and a huge second half in overtime, 32 points. How good can this young man be, big game? I mean, second overall pick, athleticism, can shoot, not afraid of the moment.
Great attitude, Gita. I had a chance to sit with him for 5 minutes, and, just to chat and talk about my time and his time. And he's really got a great attitude. He works hard. And he asks questions. He's a guy that asks questions about, and he's always got that big smile on his face. But don't let that smile fool you. This kid can play. He can create. He thinks the game through, as you can see there, passing and just the extra effort and everything. I think he's got a great career in the NBA, and that's why he was selected to be on the Rising Stars team.
Meadow, over the years here at the network, there were some teams that struggled back in the day. And we would always kind of have a joke because random guys would go for their career highs.
Yeah.
And we would say, you got to have a little bit of pride. Now, Jalen Green is not a random guy. This is his second overall pick. But what does it mean for him to have his career high against the Los Angeles Lakers?
I mean, that's
LeBron
big.
James.
No matter, even though the Lakers not playing great, just to have 32 on the Lakers, that's big.
Yeah.
That's a statement game. It makes you feel good. You're in the NBA, and you have 32 against the Lakers and LeBron.
Yeah, and another big kind of exposing the Lakers during tough times without AD. I mean, Şengün, another rookie with 21 points.
Şengün.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Şengün. when you don't have a big and you have to play these small lineups who aren't familiar with playing big, and guys that normally don't, achieve. We've seen it with a lot of centers. We saw it in the Clippers where when they don't have Dwight Howard or when you don't have AD or a big in there, they feel like it's a chance for them to take advantage of that. But regardless of the Rockets' record, when the Lakers come to town, when certain teams come to town, it doesn't matter what your record is. It's going to be your time to shine against that particular team. Golden State comes to town, you want to go against Steph. Boston comes to town, you want to go against the Celtics. So the Lakers are still one of those teams that people know that the world is watching.
Right.
And so if you can shine against them, that's your championship game.
17 games left. Lakers are 9 games under 500. Still in the 9th spot. Still holding a couple game lead over the Pelicans there in that 10th spot. So as it is today, they're going to be hosting that 9-10 game, playing game. Producer Brandon Moore, B. Moore, just came up with a good thing. It's going to be a lot of memes out there in the Twitter world, big game with your head on the desk.
Yeah.
Does it feel like one of those nights?
I remember that. I remember that night. I was about to walk off and go home that night, but I just couldn't. This team's better than what they've shown. It's been a tough trial and tribulation.
Sure.
We gave up a lot of players last year.
Yeah.
And that was a big part of our chemistry and a big part of our defense. And hoping that none would be playing, and Tucker, we thought we'd have that blend of youth to go along with some of these older players, and we haven't had that. So it's not been a happy year, and it's not been a continuity year, and it's just hadn't been a good Laker year. I can't remember. We've had some tough years, but this one, it's been an odd, weird, inexplainable kind of a year.
Yeah, we actually talked about that recently on the Lake Show podcast. It's a lot of it too, guys. It's, I think, because in Meta we mentioned your 2012-13 team in the pregame show. Like, that team got it going and got into the playoffs. I think because of the expectations and what the thought was coming into the season, it's been one of the more rougher years with all the circumstances around it. Just because you never saw it going down like this. Those years, James, that we kind of suffered through together.
Yeah.
Me and you, always the first faces that were seen. Those were kind of expected, right? Young teams. Weren't really hopes of the playoffs. This is different.